Creating reports manually is sometimes complicated and always time-consuming. With the Radian6 Excel add-in, it becomes easier, faster, and far more efficient for even big calculations using the data gathered with Radian6 widgets. Sign in with your Radian6 dashboard credentials, the same username and password. After the first login, these credentials will be remembered by Excel and you won't be asked to sign in again. Once signed in, at the top left of the Add-ins tab, you can see the drop-down list of dashboards available in your account. These are dashboards you've built in Radian6. Now this points up the importance of naming each dashboard in a manner that will mean something to you, because at this point, you can't actually see the dashboards graphically. A best practice would be to determine the dashboard you want to generate reports on, then identify the widgets in it that you want to import data from, and copy those widgets into a new reporting dashboard. Just click at the top of the Radian6 dashboard to create and name a new dashboard. This will help you avoid confusion in selecting the widgets you want for your reports. Select a dashboard and you'll see a drop-down list of all the widgets it contains, even if they're minimized on the actual dashboard itself. The name of the widget is shown as well as what kind of widget it is. To create an Excel report, just select the widget and click Import Data. Typically, people will import one widget per sheet of data. And by the way, you can import a widget as often as you like to other data sheets. As an example, for a topic analysis widget, you get all the keywords, label, or in this case, languages, and their corresponding counts listed in columns. If you make any changes to the dashboard widgets and re-import, the changes get imported and the figures update. The data you get depends, of course, on the kind of widget you're using. A River of News widget can involve thousands of posts, but the Excel add-in is limited to the last 1,000 posts. All the data is included, even workflow. The report you've generated in Excel is a data spreadsheet. The best way to use the data gathered by the add-in is to use pivot tables. What's the difference? Well, a typical data spreadsheet gives you rows and columns of data, but the difference with a pivot table is that it's an interactive table that automatically extracts, organizes, and summarizes your data from the original report or spreadsheet. You build your table as you go, and you see data changing as you build it. This rotation, or changing of the table structure, and hence its results, is where the term pivot table comes from. It's a way of summarizing the data and putting it in a very consolidated format. At the top of the data spreadsheet you've already generated, click Insert, Pivot Table. Give the pivot table a name. The table appears separately from the spreadsheet. At the right of the table is the Pivot Table field list. Here's where you choose fields in which to arrange the report's data, creating the rows and columns in the table. The fields you can choose from at the top of the list will depend on what kind of widget you've selected. For a topic analysis widget segmented by language, you can, for example, decide that you want your keywords as row labels. So drag keyword into the row labels field below. So now each row in the table will have a keyword as its label. Drag label into the column labels field. So each column will include a label, in this case a language, since this widget is segmented by language. Once you drag a field name, the checkbox beside it is checked to indicate it's being used. So you can go on building the table in this way, creating more columns and rows. If you want aggregated values or what the count totals are, drag counts to sum values. This creates a row below the counts, totaling them up. Now you have a consolidated view of counts per language for each of the keywords. You can roll over any value in the table to see details about it. The table is directly linked through the Excel spreadsheet to the widget it represents. If you return to the widget on its dashboard and change the Segmented By option, for instance, the data change will be reflected in the spreadsheet. In the Add-ins tab, simply click Refresh Widget Data, and it's going to update all the data within the data sheets. It also brings in fresh data from all the widgets that have been selected, refreshing all the pivot tables you created based on those widgets, plus refreshing all the graphs and pie charts you created based on those pivot tables. An entirely updated report is created at once. On the Design tab located beside the Add-ins tab at the top are chart layouts and chart styles. Click a column graph for the report. The data is transformed into a graph as selected. These graphs can be further customized in several ways, like type and color. You can remove data columns from the report itself as well. That is, you get all the data from the widget, but you don't have to use it all. That's it. Import data, create reports, and use pivot tables. This demo doesn't go into all the possibilities for tailoring your report. That's a matter of knowing how to use Excel itself. This is an overview of how Radian6 data can be enhanced for reports in Excel.